I walk upstairs with my oldest son, and we're going to the green room, and I'm turning the TV on, and he looks at me and goes, Dad, what's a
That's how it went.
from what is how do you do that to a girl, and how does like that work, and what point do butts play in this whole situation?
So I'm like, what are you doing? And then Jax's eyes were like, she's gonna know.
I don't think had I been stoned, I could have had that conversation with my kid. And now I don't avoid them. Like, hey, let's go talk it out. Let's go handle it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to lie to them because that's how kids rebel. Is they find out that you lied to them, and then they find out that they can't trust you. It's not always rainbows and sunshine as a husband, a father, an entrepreneur. Sometimes it's going to be a flood and a tornado. Maybe it's time for you to have the sex talk with your kids. So speaking of kids, you know, we have this event here the other day. Welcome to Meet the Stewmans. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Amy.
Hey.
Hey.
We have kids, and one of those kids with the Apex Comedy Club meetup the other night, we're walking upstairs. And so we walk upstairs. I walk upstairs with my oldest son, and we're going to the green room, and I'm turning the TV on, and he looks at me and goes, Dad, what's a blowjob?
No, that's how it went. Oh.
And I went, well, there goes my night. Yeah. So I honestly grabbed the bottle of 1942 that just happened to be sitting there, and it's like, I'm going to need some help with this one. And took a drink out of the bottle and started talking to him. And I said, well, and I explained, YouTube knows, you guys know what a blowjob is. So I explained it to him. And I thought, now I'm going to go downstairs and enjoy comedy. But he had a litany of questions for me. A whole bunch of them.
Litany, by golly, a
From
litany.
what is masturbation to, you know, how do you do that to a girl, and then how does like that work, and
Oh my
you know, what point do butts play in this whole situation? You know what I mean?
No.
And so I'm just up there. I'm just spitballing.
Oh
At
my
this point, I'm
gosh.
just spitballing answers.
Oh
You
my
know.
gosh.
Well, butts don't play any part. You know what I'm saying? That's where poop comes from. This is a bad idea.
Thank
you
you
know.
for saying that.
And
Good for you.
well, you know, I'm like, if we're going to have this conversation, it's going to be really uncomfortable. I'm going to turn that uncomfortability back around on you, son. But he wasn't uncomfortable. And here is the thing,
We
though.
can talk about it at his wedding.
Well, but here's the thing, though. Like, he was like, my dad's going to shoot me straight. And my dad is going to give me the real answers. He always has. I'll never forget back when I smoked weed one time. We had driven by, there's these weed houses next to the ranch. And we drive by them, and we're always like, man, it smells good. You know, and it does smell good. And I was like, you know, this is back when I smoked weed. I still think weed smells good. If they made weed that didn't get you stoned but just tastes the same, I'd be smoking that instead of cigarettes. I don't smoke cigarettes, but like it's delicious. It just, I don't like being high. I just like the smell of it and taste of it. And so
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I come from around the building smoking a joint, and Jackson goes, wait, you've been smoking weed this whole time? And he put two and two together because he's always smelled it around me, you know? And he goes, and that's what
Sure
they're growing
has,
over there?
son.
And I'm like, I had a choice, you know? Do I yell at, do I lie to the kid? Or do I just shoot him straight? And I said, yeah, I don't highly recommend you not start because it's hard to put down. And I think I have proven that you can put it down, but it was hard in the beginning. It's easy now.
Yeah.
And so he's watched that because I
Which
quit
is
shortly
such a
after
good
that.
example to set, and that's such a good lesson to teach.
I don't
want
wanna lie to him because that's how kids rebel, is they
transparent.
find out that you lied to them, and then they
Yeah.
find out that they can't trust you.
Then
So-
everything else you say holds no water.
And so I took that same play into the sex talk, you know,
Oh my
and
god, that's painful.
but then I spent probably an hour trying to convince him not to tell his brothers.
Ah,
You know, don't tell your brothers any of this. This is important that it stays between you and me. They're not ready for this. You know, your innocence is gone now. They're still innocent. Let them do their thing.
Yeah.
And I was telling somebody this the other day, and they go, how old is he? And I said, 12. They go, he already fucking knew. And I was like, yeah, he
Needed
did.
clarification on it.
He needed clarification. He wanted the truth. He wanted to make sure if what he knew was true.
Yeah.
And so I said, don't tell people at school. Don't talk about it at school. Don't tell your brothers. It's just, you know, now you know, and you're not allowed to do that to your girlfriend. And what I did say was I said, you know, how old are you? He goes, 12. I'm 44. Do the math of how old I was before I had a kid,
Yeah.
you know?
And
which
you're gonna
would
do the same
which would
thing.
make me, what, 36 when I had a kid? Is that right? No.
32.
32. And I said, man, because once you have a kid, I was like, you see how hard it is with your brothers and sisters? Like, you know, imagine trying to do that when you're a teenager. Or
It's
imagine
fun
trying to
playing
do
with
that.
them for small portions of time.
Imagine trying to raise them and pay
Careful,
for bills. Because as soon as you have a kid, you're out of school and you got to go pay for it. That's it.
Yeah.
Life's over. And fun childhood's over, I should say.
Yeah, that's a very good thing. The good way to put it. Childhood is over.
Yep.
Like you got to buck up. and be an adult.
That kid steals your childhood. Now you're in charge of that kid.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. We ain't raising it.
Yeah. We're not.
We are not doing what you have known.
And if you deviate from the plan, you ain't working here.
That's a great. You said that too.
Yes, of course.
Good.
If you deviate from the plan, you're not getting a job here. You're gonna play life on hard like your old man. You know.
Yep.
Except for I didn't have a kid, so I played it on hard by myself. You know.
There it is.
And but it was a long conversation, couple hours. I missed the whole comedy show.
You did, and I was so mad at you.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know where you
She
could
didn't
have
know
at
what-
least you could have and you should have sent me a text. Hey babe, hostage in the green room, giving the B&B talk with our oldest. Fist bump, and I'd have been like, word, got it. Because so you were supposed to open the event. FYI.
Yep.
We had food trucks outside. It was BY.
I'm just now finding that out. Sorry.
So I got I'm looking like Susie Waitress over here with hamburguesas and quesadillas lining my arms for all of our 4 kids and
She
Grayson.
said hamburguesas.
That's what it said on the menu.
Get
By
the-
golly, and that's what it was. It was delicious. Anyways,
It's hamburguesas.
hamburguesas were delicioso. I've got food and I don't know where anybody is. I don't know. I'm running solo.
I was starving
trying
too.
to feed everybody, trying to make sure everybody's where they're supposed to be, trying to find Ryan so he can intro the comedy people. No kids, no
I
Ryan.
wasn't hiding. I was just in
I
the
don't know
green
where
room.
anybody is. And then I'm trying to shake the hands and say hellos and get everybody in there, whatever. And then they're finally, it's already 20 minutes. They've been stalling for 20 minutes. They're trying to get the show started. And, they're like, Amy, you got to open the show. I'm like, okay.
Did you open
that's
it?
fine. Yes.
Good for you. I was going to suggest that.
You did silently.
Yeah.
And I listened.
They'd rather hear from you than me
No,
anyway. They
okay.
hear from me all the
It was
time.
great. I forget what I said, but it was great. They were giggling. And so I brought them up, and it was a good time. And then, when comedians are trying really hard to be funny, and so they just go for the jugular with the sex jokes.
I heard some of them weren't that funny.
No. And it was from a female that looked very classy, and you're like, why did you choose to go down that route? No, you shouldn't have done that. And it got a little awkward. Well, mind you, our audience was a large portion of single dudes. So then I'm sitting there listening to all these varied, and that's there's a level of professionalism with us and the clients, right? Oh
Yep.
yeah, no, that was all taken away when she's going to all the below the belt super gnarly naughty stuff, and I'm even I was uncomfortable. Can we move on? and here I am, elbow to elbow with all these dudes. She's talking about a lot of.
You're like
that
her, not
part.
me. You're like her, not
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, and I'm like, fuck is Ryan? It's Ryan. I'm like, hour goes by, and then I look over, and then the person makes a comment of, oh, and there's kids in here, and I'm like, ah! And so I rush over, and I'm like, where is your dad? He's upstairs in the green room. Him and Jax have been in there talking for this whole time, and I'm like, I could kill him. So I go up there, and I swing open the green room, and I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, we're talking, and he's hammered. It took a lot of 1942 to get through that talk, and it's just hey, and but we're talking. I don't know that you're having a valid serious life altering conversation. I just know you're chatting it up for an hour, getting hammered.
Well, hold on. Common
on a
sense says me and the
weeknight?
12-year-old aren't just hanging out while I've got an event coming on.
I
There's
don't know. Maybe you
there's
should've
clearly something
texted
going
me.
on there.
Do you think you make all the most responsible decisions ever?
Well, I wouldn't
sir?
sell my people out for a kid that I hang out with on a regular basis that I see every day.
Sure looked like it. Sure looks like it. So I'm like, what are you doing? And then Jax's eyes were like, she's gonna know. She's gonna know what we're talking about. Oh shit, this reality's hard. And then you're hammered, and I'm like, oh my god, hamburguesas are downstairs. You go, quesadilla. You get to go. And I was locking it in. Comedy show's still going on. So I'm like, we got to wrap this up. You got to show some face. You got to sit in here and not listen to all the taint jokes that they're saying downstairs and eat your food, clean up after yourselves, you with me. And you're like, yes, ma'am. And you come downstairs. I don't know if you brought the 90-42 or not because you were still like drinking away your wounds. Anyways, and we go downstairs and finally, and they had just apparently ended so it was like an hour and a half.
I thought it was like 2 hours, but yeah.
But
it felt like a life sentence, you know?
And then everybody finally is like getting to see Ryan because they came here to see you, you know? And then he's all like, hey, yeah, Ryan. And he was like, A, hammered, but B, also just so excited to be talking to adults who are not asking him like very pervasive questions, like rapid fire. You're like, another topic.
So then Amy drove home. And we were in my truck. And my truck turns like an old man with a bad back.
And it's a baby semi.
And it's a baby semi. It's about as big of a truck as you can get.
It's gigantic.
Large. Long wheelbase, 4-door, F-250, jacked up, big mud tires. All that shit. And Amy does not like driving it. Like, Amy will walk over driving that truck. And
if it's out in the country and there are no curbs and there is not a lot of traffic, I'm fine with it. But I will kill like small animals and not even know in the city, and I don't want that responsibility on me.
It's definitely a squirrel killer in our neighborhood.
It's all, yeah.
Amy drives, and the boys know Amy doesn't like to drive, and so the girl is at home, but the 3 boys are with us.
Yep.
And when we get to the house and Amy parked it, they all started clapping for her. And I'm like, again, I've been drinking, so I'm like laughing
round
my
of applause.
ass off.
That was totally unwarranted.
And
that wasn't asked
unprompted.
For.
And it was hilarious.
Not prompted. He didn't say anything like, oh, look, she made it. It was just like, park.
All the boys in the back seat started clapping. It was hilarious.
Like, thank you.
But Jackson, he maintained, though, because you were like, what are you guys talking about? And he's like, oh, school.
No, but he made a point in his I'm almost trying to be 22 voice. Hey Dad, it was funny we were talking about that math test that I had to get the grade changed on. That was pretty cool. I was talking about there for an hour. It was a long conversation about math. Right, Dad?
1 + 1 = 3.
Like, so glad to know he's a terrible liar. Like, perfect. I know the face. I know the sound of the voice. Okay, perfect. I'm going to sound you out for all the things you're going to do when you're older.
Yep.
What a night.
So that's what's going down in Plano, Texas. You know, even hard conversations, Dad, are you smoking weed? Yes. It's like... that's better than that drug commercial from the 80s where like, I learned it by watching you. Remember that, Monaco? And now he's seen me quit. So he's like, hey, my dad said that it wasn't a good idea. And obviously his life's gotten better because he quit. So, you know, I become that example. You know, Ed Milet slid in my DMs and he said his dad quit drinking on 420 years ago. His dad's passed away now.
Yeah.
And he said, your kids will remember this. I remember my dad quitting and I wasn't a kid, but your kids will remember this because you made a decision, you know. And I went 7 months without drinking, you know, and the sex talk drove me to drinking again. But
yeah, but we broke sobriety that night.
But I needed to go a while without drinking, and I'm not a big drinker anyway. That's not a problem I have. I'm gonna take it or leave it. I mean, we have a fully stocked liquor cabinet at the house, and if people over, I might touch it, or if it's been a long day, you know, or Amy's may pour me a glass of wine occasionally, but it's like, it's not a regular thing, whereas weed was a massively regular, regimented part of my diet. And you know, to sit it down and the kids be like, dude, Dad doesn't smoke, you know. The younger two don't know that it's weed, but they're like, I ain't seen Dad smoke in 6 months. It's been fucking 6 months, by the way. And 170 days, so close to 6 months.
So this summer when we were traveling, were you still? Or had you just quit?
I quit in November. Oh. Like the beginning of November.
Time is weird,
and it's May, so
wow.
6 months. We're 10, 15 days away from it being 6 months. So.
Crazy. Okay. Gosh, it's almost May. Okay.
So yeah, traveling in the summer. I mean, I used to take the shit everywhere. Other countries with me, cross state lines,
now
like
that's
fucking
how
whatever.
I like identify you as like my husband who does not smoke weed. It feels like it's been forever.
Yeah.
truly feel like I was just thinking in my head this past summer you weren't, but you totally were.
Well, and I've quit a few times in the past, but I never thought it was a permanent thing. I was never like, I'm not going back. I won't do it again. It's like I just need a break.
Yeah.
And this time it was such a painful experience, not because of the quitting smoking weed, but the facing of weed give me a good case of the fuck it can't be that bad. Fuck it, they really couldn't be doing. I got to be paranoid. They can't be acting that way. Like friends, confidants, employees. Then when I sobered up, I was like, oh shit, it's worse than I thought.
Yeah.
I got to fucking pull some hard plugs here. And listen, when I got off weed the first 2 months, I was angry as fuck. I'm sometimes an angry guy anyway, but when I didn't have that coping mechanism, my nerves were on edge. Reminds me of this one time,
Right.
About a year ago. I do testosterone and cypionate, and the doctor gave me a bottle of Deca, and he's like, you should try this, years ago, and I had it in the drawer. And I thought it was cypionate, and so I stopped the cypionate on accident and was accidentally taking the Deca instead. And bro, I lost my fucking mind on people and yelling and screaming and hollering and stressed the fuck out. Then I get to the end of the bottle one day and go to put the cap on the next bottle, and I was like, no fucking wonder I had the wrong hormones in my body for the last 6 fucking weeks. And I had to call a bunch of people up crying and apologizing and shit like that.
I remember the one time you took vitamins for like a month. And you were so tired all the time. And then you realized it was the nighttime
It was
vitamin.
sleepy vitamins.
It was sleepy vitamins you were taking like at 8 a.m.
It was allergy medicine, and it was
Oh,
the nighttime allergy aid,
gosh.
which makes you twice as drowsy. And I'm like, fuck, I don't know why I'm fucking tired all the
Words are
time. Right?
important, Mr. Stewman, words. You should read them, especially on a pill bottle.
Words matter.
They
And
do.
but it was like that. It was like super stressful, blah, 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 and then went through so much pain and had to cut ties with so many people that I shouldn't have had in my life in the first place. Now we look back, we have record-breaking months. We built a hell of a culture back here. We have the right people in place, the right time. And it was such a painful experience that I'm like, I'm not willing to, the other night, I'm like, I'm not willing to go back to that and find out that was the cause of these problems, which it clearly fucking was. And so I'm not willing to go back and run that trial and split test to see if I can handle it. I know I can't. I'm over it. It's like the other night we run into my mom. We're at a concert. Listen, y'all, I ain't seen my mom since 2012. And it's 2014. Did you?
No, you have not had a conversation with her.
Yeah, I mean, I hadn't seen her. I mean, I've seen her at a distance one time, but not like, so we're at this concert. My buddy Dusty Black's performing. He's a badass. You got to check him out on Spotify. Dusty Black. That dude writes
PSA,
fucking
Dusty
country
Black's amazing.
anthems, bro. That guy writes country anthems. One of my best friends. And by the time you listen to this, he may already be on the radio. He's like big time up and comer. And so we go to his concert to support him. And because he's one of my best friends, and he can sing. He picks out got a really good ear for music and can sing. And so we get there, and I walk up to the bar area.
And this is before the concert, when there was not a lot.
Yeah,
because
this was the whole place is a bar. So I'm walk up, standing at the bar area, and I look over, and I'm like, shit, that's my mom. And I didn't say anything. She's like, from me to you, and I didn't say anything. And we I'm just like trying to maintain. And then they're like, oh, let's go to the VIP part because Dusty gave us VIP tickets. So we go over to the VIP part, and I was like, dude, my mom was over there. And everybody's like, what? You didn't even say this? Like, because everybody with me knows that I haven't talked to my parents in a long time. And they're like, why don't you go say hello to her? It's like, I have no animosity for my mom anymore. But my life has been so much better without my family in it that I don't want to run the split test to find out whether or not it was my family that caused some of the heartache. Not all of it, because I'm a responsible adult that understands that I cause a lot of heartache myself too. But I didn't want to run that split test. So weed's kind of the same thing as like, my life's been so much better without it, and it was such a painful experience the first 45, 50 days, 60 days that I had to go through. I mean, life tested us, tested our marriage, not in the sense of like one of us stepped out on each other or hit each other or no shit like that, but like I'm going to be honest, like when I quit, I fired somebody who I thought was my best friend. I fired my right-hand person. I fired my top producing sales guy. All these people that didn't belong in my life, let go of 10 other people in the company, narrowed this thing down to 3 employees, and then switched like me, fuck it, let's just do every fucking thing that's fucking terrible we can do at once. Fired a bunch of staff, so that means that it's up to me to do everything. Then switched all of our technology over at the same fucking time. 73 fucking funnels and digital product, 1,000 funnels, 73 digital products, an entire database of 1 million fucking people on it or whatever the hell's on there. Cleaning it up, washing it down, washed it down from fucking high six figures to 65,000 people. Just like, dude, and then skip 2 months worth of fucking payments because as we're switching merchant processors and shit over, it didn't process people's payments. Pouring fucking money into the fucking employment and payroll that's going on here. $1 million accidental fucking unaccounted for tax bill. Fucking $90,000 in property taxes that I didn't know I fucking owed because the old people that I fired didn't fucking tell me. And just like one fucking painful kick in the balls. Like, kick me in my right nut, and I'm like, oh, fuck, that's horrible. No, the left one too, fuck. Right? Like, just after another, and then training new people and building a culture and trying to make a smile like everything's okay on the outside. And then,
you look like Jack Nicholson
and then
there.
fuck, dude. Like, man, I would come home every night. And I'd tell my wife, man, fuck all this. I want to burn it down. Fucking, I just need 25 clients, and I can fucking pay every bill that I've got and continue my path, and I don't have to deal with all these people that. Because here's the thing, people that they're judging me because some people for some reason have an unnatural allegiance to fucking ex-employees and shit. And they're like, oh, you fired people. Yeah, I run a fucking business, guys. Yeah. You know, and they're like, oh, but we were close with those people. Why would you get close with my employees? That's fucking weird. I have a lot of people I do business with too. I'm not close with their employees. That's a weird situation.
You can't get mad about when life changes.
No, and exactly. I mean? And they made those decisions. Had they worked as hard to fucking keep their job as they had to fucking done some of the other shit, they'd still have a job. And so, you know, I'm like having to deal with massive judgment. Oh, there was people saying, oh, this is the end of Ryan. And you know, his people all quit on him. They were all. And I
tell you, it's like the best thing that could have ever happened is like, oh, you tell me how you really feel now. Yeah. Awesome. We're gonna part the Red Sea. You can go fuck all the way off. You guys, you're my people.
So we kicked probably 15, 20 people out of our. We fired clients. We fired employees.
People that we were thought were on our team, and we're like, shit. All right, you're just wanting to suck. Now that you think we've lost everything, and you think there's no blood you can suck out of us, you're gonna talk. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, bye-bye.
You're gonna go join team not working here anymore, and they're like, his whole team.
What's sad is that it's not even team. It's just like they were like, no, like we were purely here to be land freeze.
Land freeze, yep.
And to like try and roach off your network. Oh shoot! Now that we think that that's not going to be a viable source anymore, we're going to start being dickheads. Like, fuck you, man.
And then the rumor, because look, I never really addressed it, and the rumor was like, you know. Oh, all of his people quit on him because he's hard to work for. That wasn't the case. I fired all of them. Yeah. And so I'm dealing with all this massive animosity and missing payments because we changed our merchant processor and switching software over and building a new team and trying to fake a smile. Would come home at the end of the night. Amy's like, I don't want to fucking hear it. I'm stressed as you are. Like, she's working too. She's trying to fix fucking all 3, 4, 5 years worth of fucking financials that somebody else should have done. That now she's in fixing, lowering our fucking overhead, increasing our EBITDA, fixing our taxes, fixing our books, like shit that I paid people hundreds of thousands of dollars to do, but nobody could ever accomplish, that she ended up getting knocked out. We're stressed, and I'd come home at the end of the day, and I was like, today's the day I quit. Today's the day that I'm fucking I know how to fucking just run a small operation that makes a lot of fucking money and then go flip land and go fucking flip houses and I'm a hustle muscle. I know how to do this shit. And then I get home and there's my 4 kids and there's my wife. And they're like, hey, Dad, how was work today? Fuck work, right? Like, I don't say that to them, but how was work today? Oh, man, it was great. I can't wait to have your job. Oh, fuck. I gotta go. And it's just like
make it look good, honey.
It became just like the gym. Every morning I wake up to go to the gym. I don't want to go. And I wake up into the back of my mind, it's like, you don't got to go. You already been for a long time, bro. You ain't got to go. But I remember George Farr once told me when he was about 55, he stopped going to the gym because he felt like he'd done it enough, and it was his biggest regret. So every morning I go to the gym anyway. And then work, the thing that was always really fun and always really exciting for me, became that thing like, I don't want to go to work, but fuck it, I'm going to show up. Yeah. Now, we're 5 months on the other side of that damage. Really, we're only 2 months on the other side of the fucking shit that we went through, but 5 months on the other side of this process. And it's like, the guys just had a record month. We're closing a big ass deal today that I get out from under as an investment. We close a big ass deal in 2 weeks. I get out of another investment. 2 weeks after that, we close another investment that I've had. All these are deals that I did. They're not deals I put in with anybody else. They're all fucking personal deals. So the fucking deals that I put in with other people didn't go so well either. So we had that on top of the other fucking pain. But now it's like, damn, I felt like in June, God was like, you need to quit smoking weed. So now, since I quit smoking weed, I've had the sex talk with my kid. I've had hell from the job. I have,
reality in the
I've
face.
had reality check after reality check from my beautiful wife over here. I've had fucking a flooded ranch, missed payments, fucking technology, fucking training a new team, blah, blah, blah. But now I look back and I was like, oh shit, it was all worth it. Holy fuck. I'm glad I didn't quit.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you, and I just told you like 1/10 of the shit that actually happened.
You don't even know.
We're talking lawsuits from influencers. We're talking fucking lawsuits from ex-fucking employees that didn't go away quietly. We're talking some of these people called every ex-client we've ever had trying to garner up fucking bullshit. Like fucking massive amounts of
low
fucking
energy
low
headache,
energy,
like,
small
really?
dick fucking activity that you have no idea. But I look back and I was like, most people would have quit after one of those things. And we kept fucking rolling through all of them, taking hits, left nut, right nut, fucking in between the ass cheeks, fucking everywhere we could fucking take it. And now I look back and I was like, man, it was all worth it.
Yeah.
Still
telling jokes.
Oh shit, it was all worth it.
Still joking about it.
We, could have been.
I mean, but I mean, at the same.
I don't know
time,
that it could have been worse. Do you? I don't think that you could. I don't think it could have been worse.
Well, things can always get worse, but things can always get better too.
I mean,
you can't put boundaries on things because you're not in control.
And the doctor tells me during this time too, it's like, hey, you need your lungs checked out. I think you got lung problems. And I go to fucking have a CT scan thinking I'm gonna fucking come out with cancer or some shit.
I mean, the guy who smoked like
30
Willie
fucking
Nelson's
years.
young son
For 30 years.
For 30 years. And what did it say?
My lungs are perfect.
They're perfect. Like there's no better score.
Best rating. Yeah, best rating they've ever seen.
It's like my lungs are probably worse than yours.
Yeah, I don't fucking get it. But
I had COVID.
I was like, are you sure? And so
crazy.
But the lesson behind this is we're going to go through trials and tribulations, and I'm a rip the Band-Aid off kind of guy instead of slowly pull it off, and we ripped it the fuck off, and it hurt like hell.
You ripped off some hair with that Band-Aid.
There was hair attached to it, thick back hair attached to it. And but it was all worth it, and I look back now and I'm like, man, I'm really glad that I didn't burn the shit down and quit, and that doesn't mean that it's easy street ahead of us. It's not, but it can't be harder than that. I mean, that was literally, I've been to prison twice. And the second time I went to prison, I was worth $1 million plus. I had 32 rent houses, a wife that in a house that I lived in, and cars. And I went in there and I got divorced, and I fucking found out I was going to do more time than I thought I was going to do. And there was no AC in prison, none, zero. Turns out there's no AC in the prison I went to, and I had to go spend 2 fucking summers there. There's no heat in the winter either, by the way, and I had to do a cold-ass winter. It rained all summer. One summer they had these tiger fucking mosquitoes that would suck you alive on the fucking ball field. Like, it was just fucking crazy. And that was a cakewalk compared to the fucking last 90 days that we went through.
You didn't have responsibilities in prison.
I didn't. It's like, in there, I was like, fuck it. There's nothing I can do about it. What time is chow? So, but I'm glad that we made it through that, and I don't think had I been stoned, I could have had that conversation with my kid.
No.
I don't think had I been stoned,
you would
I could have had a lot
avoided the hard conversations.
And now I don't avoid them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Used to in the past, it's like, I'm not gonna deal with that shit, blah blah. And now I'm like, hey, let's go talk it out. Let's go handle it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's been very intimidating to some people. Because, they're like, oh, shit, I don't want to have hard conversations with this dude because he's going to tell me stuff I don't want to know.
Well, if you don't have it, the problem doesn't go away. And things that, weren't a problem, that was just kind of like lingering scenarios, will become a problem. So the faster you have that conversation, the further you can grow and the more you can accomplish.
Now, again, I don't expect it to be easy street because anytime you're growing, it's like the gym. If you're trying to grow your body, you're going to have to keep pushing harder. And so that's what we're doing is we're keep pushing harder, but because of the pain that I went through, because of the struggles that we faced in every area that you could possibly imagine, it's like that made us better. It made us tighten down.
Yeah.
It made us hammer down. It made us pour more into, and crazy thing is I haven't lost my cool since none of those people are around anymore. I used to lose my cool pretty often. I really haven't lost my cool.
No.
And the people here understand that, like, just because I'm loud doesn't mean that I'm angry.
You're passionate.
I'm very passionate, and I'm an
Like Nick
intense
Saban.
guy. But passion and intense do not equal anger. It might seem like
Yeah.
anger to the amateur ear, but, I think the people we have in our lives now, they really understand my heart, that it's not, oh, he's some tough guy, and I'm not a tough guy, but he's some tough guy, screamer, that's always pissed off and cussing. Like, that was just because, man, I couldn't figure out what my frustration was until I sobered up, and then I figured out what it was. It's like, oh, because I couldn't understand, like, I cared for those people so much and did so good to them and treated them so well and paid them more money than they'd ever made in their life. Why the fuck are they acting this way?
Right. Right.
And now I'm like, oh, it's because they're a fucking piece of shit. Oh, I let pieces of shit hang around me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I had to flush the toilet and move the fuck on. And now it's like, oh, I got all these good people. So if I come in there and I'm intense in a meeting, they're like, sir, yes, sir, we understand the assignment. I'll never forget, I had this message where I left the sales team, and I'm like, you guys are fucking breaking my fucking heart. You didn't even fucking show up on the fucking day that we're supposed to work. What the fuck are you guys doing? And they're like, what a fucking asshole. And Sean, he's like, dude, you're speaking my language. Fucking let's hammer down, you know? And I'm like, oh, finally somebody gets it, and they understand that I wasn't calling them motherfuckers, and I wasn't doing, I was just like, that was my motivation style. And then these people here, they're like, let's get it.
You're speaking confidence, and you're speaking into them like, look, you're doing this, you're messing up, and that's not who you are, and you can be better.
Yep.
But a lot of people, they have to have that faith in themselves to recognize that that's what you're saying.
If you enjoyed the episode, you need to have the sex. Maybe it's time for you to have the sex talk with your kids.
The B&B.
Yep.
The B&B. If you want any tips and tricks, this guy.
Yeah, just
Good
1942
Hamburguesa
it.
in 1942.
I didn't get an hamburguesa, man. That's why I was a little tipsy. I didn't have anything to eat.
You should have listened to Mom over here.
Yeah, well, I was too busy.
It's okay. Here we are.
But if you like the show, hit the subscribe button. We have several shows.
Button. Hit subscribe.
We have several shows on here. One of them's called Interrupting with Amy, and we have Standing on Business,
We can make that.
Rewire, Hardcore Closer podcast, and then we have Meet the Stewmans, all on the same channel, the same podcast, Ryan Stewman Podcast on Spotify. If you like to listen in your car or in the gym, always promise to give you probably shit you don't really you didn't know that you cared about, but you care about it when you hear it from us, and that's what's going on.
Things that you didn't know you needed to learn, but you know them now.
Leave us a comment. We read them. Share it with somebody. Somebody that needs to hear that it's not always rainbows and sunshine as a husband, a father, an entrepreneur. Sometimes it's going to be a flood and a tornado, like what happened to our ranch that we'll talk about next week on the show. So make sure you stay tuned for that one, and we'll catch you next time.